situations like that, and he was. The defense found its footing after the first half, and that's encouraging. One thing that really bothers me, though, is with the league as established and popular and revenue driven as the NFL, to have a massive rule change in the pass interference, the ability to challenge and view pass interference calls. The announcer said something that just kind of stuck in my craw, which, speaking of which, the phrase "stuck in my craw" sticks in my craw. That no one really saw this coming when they changed the rule, that because turnovers and scoring plays are all automatically reviewed, the entire play is reviewed, that they can then take away a touchdown because of offensive pass interference. That was a terrible call. I mean, just objectively, I'm not even bitching because I'm a Vikings fan. That was such a bad call. And it's very, very impactful. Clearly, they took 4 points off the board. It hurts with momentum. The offense needs momentum. Cousins is playing bad, but the entire offense just felt disjointed. Diggs had that drop on a play that could have very well scored or been a very big chunk play. So taking stuff away from them like that going into the half is just really damaging, and it bothers me that the NFL continues to be this league that doesn't seem to put a lot of thought into what they're doing. They're very reactive. They don't have contingencies for things that you think they would, a la domestic abuse. They didn't see that scandal coming. I don't know how. But it's just a testament to how popular it is and how much we love football that we let this league get away with just stupid stuff all the time, that any Fortune 500 company would fire their CEO in a heartbeat if they had a week like the NFL has. And now we have this new rule that's going to, clearly impact things. And I know that when debating the move to take extra points back a few yards on a show that I used to do with Joe Oberly and Luke Braun called the Purple Journal Podcast, they were all for it. They thought extra points were too automatic, and they kind of took away any drama that could come from it. It didn't feel like part of the game. It just felt like an addendum to it. And I remember specifically saying this about that, and also the special team or the pass interference rule change. Anytime there's a rule change, it will negatively affect the Vikings multiple times. Anytime there's any sort of way for our hearts to be broken, it will happen. And so I wasn't for this change. I wasn't for the extra point change because I immediately just saw the Vikings losing the Super Bowl by an extra point or something. So seeing that they took that touchdown away on a play that the NFL rule guru said he wouldn't have called on the field as pass interference, which is why it wasn't called in the first place. It drives me insane. It's so stupid. It's I forget what the term is. I have a political science degree and a sociology law degree. Like unintended consequences. There's an academic term for it. From a major change, the unintended negative consequences. Maybe someone in the chat that has thicker glasses than me can let me know. But anyway, Cook is showing yet again why he's a top back in the league. He looks leaps and bounds better than I think we've ever seen him. He tore his ACL relatively early in his rookie year. Those take time to get back from, especially for a guy that does as many high-speed cuts as he does, who's as contingent on things like that as he is, cuts and misdirection and jukes. Man, he just looks amazing. Cousins is terrifying me right now, though. I don't understand what is going on. If he's stuck in his own head, I don't know. That throw to Diggs was forced on the interception. It shouldn't have happened. There was, when you have the announcer saying things like, there's like 3 better options than that. It's almost embarrassing. I know that they're maybe feeding in a little bit to the narrative of the disarray that a lot of Vikings fans feel is going on at the quarterback position. But when you have blaringly bad plays like that, it's just you expect better from your quarterback in general, but especially considering how much they paid Cousins. And I've been a big defender of his. And not all of those drops or incomplete passes, rather, were his fault, but he's got to play better. He just does. He had 10 throws last week, 80% completions. He did make some good throws, but he needs to maybe go back to Thielen early and often in the second half. Again, the defense has really stepped up after the slow start. They did put the Vikings in a hole, though. But the offense started slow too, so I'm not putting it all in the defense, but I think the defense will be fine in the second half. I just really think that getting the ball is huge, but they need to come out and they need to put a touchdown on the board. Cousins needs to maybe just start out with some screens or just get his confidence built back up, which is infuriating that I'm even having to say that. I just get it together, man. Like, I shouldn't have to sit here and say, well, let's, he's only getting $90 million over 3 years, so hopefully we can do some shovel passes and he'll get his confidence back up. I mean, that's not what we paid him for. That's not why we brought him here. So I'm not going to make any excuses for him. I don't care that Elflein isn't playing. He's making bad decisions and bad throws, and those are his two things to do. So he's playing bad. Rodgers started out great, which is amazing because I just wrote an article about how he was no longer the Aaron Rodgers of yesteryear. So that blew up in my face, which is pretty typical. So I think from this point forward, I'll just write articles about how the Vikings are going to lose every game by 50 points, and then it'll blow up in my face and they'll win. I don't know. Point of this being the universe hates me, and that having been said, I have some confidence for the second half. I mean, especially considering how a lot of people in our live chat were saying, "Oh, game over," relatively quickly. They're still in this game. They get the ball back. They score a touchdown and go for 2. They're down by 3. So it's everything should be fine if Cousins can propel the ball through the air to a teammate, which I think is his job. I don't know. I'll have to go on Wikipedia and figure it out. Anyway, I'll be back after the game unless things go sideways, then you'll read about me in the paper tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and go Vikes, ? Bye.